the way out of this, and all that we have said, it's not new. So one, if you want to safeguard the independence of an institution, there are two dimensions to this. The first, it's the operational and the financial independence. So how are state independent electoral commissions funded? Can they be funded from the state consolidated fund like we have, for INEC? Because what you see happen at the state is that the state governors starve the state independent electoral commissions and they are unable to conduct local government elections. At Yiga Africa, we are working with on local government elections. And I can tell you that some of the complaints that the SECs have actually tabled before us is the fact that they are still awaiting appropriation, they are still awaiting release of funds for them to be able to fix election dates. These are the things that we need to address. How do we make it difficult, for governors to be using their powers, starve electoral commissions from accessing funds? Because that's one way to rig elections across the world, when you encroach on the financial independence of the electoral commission. So institute, some mechanisms in the Constitution, as well as the electoral laws of the different states that secures the financial independence of those institutions. The second point, it's about the term of office of local government councils. Now, by virtue of Section 150 of the 2022 Electoral Act, which compels state independent electoral commissions, to conduct local government elections in tandem with the procedure laid out in Part 5 of the Electoral Act. Because one of the attempts the National Assembly made to sanitize local government elections was to compel states, independent electoral commissions, to conduct elections in line with the provisions of the Electoral Act. And the National Assembly, relying on the constitutional powers it has, made those provisions. And today, state independent electoral commissions are beginning to align some of the laws and the guidelines in line with the Electoral Act. But that particular law is insufficient. So the same way we are clamoring for the appointment, the removal of the power to appoint the INEC chairman and national commissioners and resident electoral commissioners from the president in line with Justice Uwe's recommendations, is the same clamor for the states. So governors should not have the power to appoint their stooges, their loyalists into the state independent electoral commissions. But we need to address the question of the terms of office, because for the Constitution to say that local government shall be constituted by democratically elected local governments without clearly stipulating the term of office like we have done for president, for governors, and for national and state legislatures, I think provides an opportunity for us to address these sort of shortcomings. The other, perhaps, fundamental issue around strengthening SECs is the fact that we need political education. A lot of people at the local government level do not participate in local elections. And so whilst we think about legislative or legal reforms, there is also need for character reforms on the part of the voters. That local governments are the closest governments to you. So it's important to participate at that local level, because if the demand, for accountability is not high, then the supply side will be low. And this is the situation that we have at the state level. And lastly, I just want to urge those proponents for scrapping local governments to exercise, caution, because on one hand, we can't be clamoring for local government autonomy. We can't be clamoring for devolution and decentralization. And on the other hand, we still want a form of centralization. It defeats the entire purpose, of decentralization and distribution of power. And I think that we are at a point, we have an opportunity now to liberate our local government system, and good a thing that there are broader discussions around local government autonomy. But let's not divorce local government elections from local government autonomy, because they are all intrinsically linked. But scrapping SEC it's not the best way to go for our democracy.